Hey, Trails Collective. Welcome back to the Trails Collective live show. Tonight, I am very excited to have Jared Burdick on our show. But before we start, I want to, as always, thank our Patreon supporters who are helping make the Trails Collective possible. And I also want to give a plug for the holiday show that we are going to be having on New Year's Eve. Over 2 hours of some great content. We got a variety style show of wait, don't tell me type of deal. We got some prizes going on. So stay tuned for announcements about that. But that's going to be really fun. So mark your calendars for New Year's Eve. And without further ado, let's get this interview started with Jared Burdick. Jared, welcome to the Trails Collective interview series. How are you this evening?
I'm doing pretty well. How about you?
You know, I can't complain at all. It's been a pretty stellar day. You know, the nice snow and it's not too cold yet. So, and it's December, so it's supposed to snow in December, right? It's when it's snowing in February and March, and you're like,
yeah, this is the exciting snow.
So where are you coming to us from?
I'm in Fayetteville, New York. So pretty much right in the center, kind of a suburb of Syracuse.
And you grew up there, right? Because you were quite the high school phenom. And is Fayetteville still a very good high school program?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I don't follow them too much, but I think recently they've been national champions for something like 10 plus years or something on the girls side. And then the guys won a national championship as well, like pretty recently. So
I want to talk about that. But first, there's a burning question that I've wanted to ask you for a while. What is it like being the older brother of Laurel Leone?
I'm actually the younger brother.
The younger brother. Okay. So she did teach you how to run.
Yeah. She kind of paved the way for the Burdicks.
My training group, we think very highly of Laurel. And, you know, we all, when I told them that I was interviewing you, they're like, oh, that Laurel. I was like, yeah, that Laurel. Do you guys run together often?
Yeah, every once in a while we do. You know, she's pretty busy with, you know, her kids, and then, you know, I work and stuff. So it's sometimes hard to connect, but yeah, we usually try to get, you know, a few times a year or so, just running together.
Yeah, that's the same way with my sister. You know, I did recently just read this article that said, statistically speaking, younger siblings end up being the better athlete in an athlete family. And so it's funny, I thought you were the older sibling, so I was going to be like, oh, sorry, because I'm the older sibling too. But now, I mean, hey, you got a leg up. And then after I read that, I sent the article to my younger sister, and I said, pick a sport. We're going to the top, Laurel. This is how it's going to be.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the older child kind of paves the way, and then for the younger, it's a lot easier. The parents know what to do, and you kind of know how to train and stuff. So you have like a mentor plus, you know, all the experience and stuff. So I think it's probably easier for the younger to learn and to, you know, perform better. That's what I would think.
So how much younger, how many years younger than you are she?
I am 2 years younger. But school wise, she was like a senior and I was a freshman.
Okay.
So we overlapped in high school like 1 year, but I was on like as a freshman, I just made my way onto varsity like the last few races. But yeah.
But you did grow up watching her run, probably, because she's very, very good.
Yeah, like I would go to at the time it was Foot Lockers in which was nationals or whatever, and that was held at like Disney World. So every year around like Christmas time, we would go to Disney World just to watch her run, and it was fun for me because it wasn't any pressure. I could just go to Disney World and watch her, and then she would just run and stuff.
Did you ever personally participate in Nike Cross or anything like that?
Yeah. So the first year was they had the NTN was 2004, and that was my senior year. So it kind of lined up pretty perfectly for us. Like, I guess, I don't know, my history in high school running was my senior year. We kind of focused a lot the summer before. So we kind of did some pretty intense training, at least for high school at the time, I think. So I was probably averaging like 70 miles a week going into my senior year.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot for me right now.
Yeah, no, it's a good amount of mileage. So we really just trained pretty hard, and it was led by, Bill Aris. And, he's a really good motivator, and he really got you to perform like pretty much the best you could, like on any specific day. So, as a senior, we kind of we pretty much were undefeated the whole season. And then came Nike Nationals, which was like a new thing. And so we flew to Oregon, and they had this kind of course. I don't know if it changed, but it was like around a racetrack for horses. And they built these kind of different obstacles, and they had like hay bales and kind of like old school cross country, you would think. And so we raced there, and we came in second at nationals. So that was like our only loss. But yeah, that's kind of a brief story of how.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So were you one of like the leaders on the team, or were you guys all like, 70 miles a week is a lot. I mean, well, I guess now more so high school programs are getting pretty intense. But back then, like, I would assume like a lot of kids are running like maybe 20 to 30 miles. So was it sort of your coach's training strategy, and how did you manage that? Because I know it's a lot of miles.
Yeah. So the year before my junior year, we made it to states and federations. Do they still have federations? I'm not sure, but federations was like the big state race where kind of all the schools, all the small schools, and everybody kind of ran the race. There was like no classes, not class A, class B, C. So that was kind of like the main state race. So we raced there, and we came in second at states to Shenandoah. And they had a really good team. So, the next week was feds, and we were like, let's go get these guys. We're so close. We came in second at states. Now it's feds. Let's try to beat them. So we went out, and we just kind of fell off, and we came in like fifth or sixth. So the bus ride home, we kind of were like, you know what? We're going to train this year. We're going to, pretty much work throughout the entire year to just try to win states next year. And, pretty much Bill took that as, he wanted to have a group who was motivated, by themselves. Like, he didn't want to be that person to push you. So if you were already like intrinsically motivated, he was like all on board. He was like, this is what we can do. And, we'll train. And he had like a set training plan for us throughout the summer. And, I pretty much worked out,
I'd say.
So, yeah.
So moving on, you went to college at RIT, yes?
Yep.
And you studied chemical engineering?
No, it was electrical engineering.
Electrical engineering. Okay. So we actually did have a question about that before we talk about your college running. Is like you're studying engineering and having probably a very mathematical brain. Is there some sort of like that element that you bring to your ultra running and when you're strategizing for races now?
No, not really. I usually, I guess, trying to figure out the calories per hour, that's just something, in training wise, like, you kind of practice, and I try to aim for like 300 calories per hour, but, that's not really, mathematically.
Yeah, ultras aren't
but
really, it's a little bit easier to do mathematical stuff when you're getting into the lower distances, but I feel like once you're out there, it's a little bit
yeah,
all
sometimes it
over.
helps when you're like, simple math and you're like, how many miles do I have left? And it's like 13 or something. And
Yeah.
how much time is that? Worst case, it's like maybe like 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah.
I can
Then you
I
start
can
to
do that.
cry.
Yeah, and you're like, oh no. But yeah, no, for running for me is more just like I don't look at a lot of data for my training. So if I was coaching somebody, I probably would look a lot more at, what they're hitting for certain workouts or, their training and stuff like that more closely. But for me, I don't really look at my own personal runs and personal feedback. I don't do that too much.
Do you run more for like distance or time?
Pretty much time. Yeah, unless I guess for trails it's time. Sometimes for like a big road run, maybe I want to get like 30 miles in, and if it's flat, I'll be like, yeah, I'll try to get in 30 miles or something like that.
Do you do that often, like 30-mile road runs?
Uh, in the lead up to, I guess JFK, last year I kind of led up to that. I didn't do as much as I wanted to, but yeah, if I can get one good, if I'm trying to train for like a flat, race or something like that, I would do something like that. Yeah.
So, how was your college experience? I think I read you described it as being a little bit up and down. So, was it just the combination of the high mileage running and then also studying engineering, or what went on?
Yeah. Engineering was, I guess I definitely liked, engineering as in principle, but school was very tough for me.
Especially at
So
RIT.
yeah, so I kind of struggled, but I kind of got through it, academically wise, and then running. I was like, I was really into running, obviously, and I wanted to do really well at that. So I trained probably more than I probably should have, versus studying. So looking back, I guess I wish I studied more and probably ran less, and I probably would have ended up, performing running better, having done that. So because I guess the high school program that I was in was pretty intense, so I was thinking like, you really need to be intense like all the time and stuff, training. So I kind of wanted to do that in college, and that doesn't necessarily work, just because you're balancing everything. And so yeah, if I had cut back running, I think both things would have been better. But yeah.
Yeah, I imagine you dealt with like some overtraining or just burnout. Like, any injuries?
No, I've been pretty lucky. Like, I don't know, I've been running for almost 20 years, I guess. So I really haven't had an injury. Yeah, that has taken me out for more than a couple weeks.
So, why do you think you just didn't hit your potential in college?
Just, I guess, workload, and then I guess it's kind of tough to explain, but I guess I didn't really, going from to having a pretty good like customized program that had a motivational speaker like Bill. Like Bill would give us motivational speeches like every day, like 30 to 40 minutes before you went out and ran. Going from that to kind of this has nothing to do with my nothing bad to do with my college coach, but it was just completely different, different atmosphere. But at the same time, the people there were incredible too. So it was like training for me. I didn't really trust my coach as much as I probably should have. He was a D1 Notre Dame runner, 800 meter guy. He ran like 147 or something. So he was quick. He knew enough to coach. And I didn't really listen. So.
Like we all do. Well, I was reading your blog, and in 2016, your first post actually is to be coached or not to be coached. And you settled on being coached, at least for Caumsett for a little while. So are you still coached now?
I just recently stopped the coaching.
Okay. You've been coached though for since then.
Yeah.
The same person?
Julie Benson.
Okay. And so do you think you what changed between that coach and the coach that you and Julie? What made you trust having a coach again?
Well, I felt I guess there was a time, okay. I've had a lot of different stages of running, I guess. So after college, I was kind of still trying to figure out what I was doing with just work and stuff. So I was also kind of, but let me think about this. So post-collegiately, I kind of joined a group, Stoughton, and they were a kind of a group that were spun off of the high school program. So Bill kind of coached the high school, and then his son coached Stoughton racing as like a post-collegiate group. And the program there, was actually very intense. So what I had in college was the opposite of, I was kind of sandwiched in,
well, it's based off Stoic philosophy principles, right? Which is, do hard work, put your head down, kind of be a little bit just grinder and screw your feelings kind of a situation, right?
Yeah. And I think, that can work for the right people. And it's for the right people in the right circumstance, I guess at that point in my life, I wasn't ready for that or really prepared for that type of training. So, what I wanted in college was kind of that, but then when I actually got into it, and trying to find a job and, trying to work and stuff like that, I was like, whoa, I kind of need to back off from that a little bit. But obviously I ran all my PRs during that time. But yeah, it was, my marathon buildup for 220 was probably more aggressive than it should have been. So if we cut back by 5 or 10% of that training, I think I would have gotten a faster time overall when I ran 220. But that's part of training, part of life and stuff.
It's such a fine line, marathon training especially. It's you're a hair away from being overtrained, and if you're but then if you are a hair overtrained, it's your races just can be terrible. But if you're it's just you're always riding that line. It's so hard.
Yeah, it's really just I don't know, I think it's better to be conservative because you always have another race to improve on. You have always, I mean, you might not hit it exactly like what you want, but you always have something more versus like if you overtrain, then you could be out for, a year or something like that. Versus if you're conservative, well, you have another race, you're excited for how you finish and like, well, you have more momentum on your side if you do it that way. So
what led you to your first 50 miler at Cayuga, which you placed second, which was amazing. And you were interviewed by Ultra Runner Podcast after that. So everybody check that out if you're interested in a younger Jared.
Yeah.
So what led you to that race?
I kind of started to go back into the trails and, just running without a watch because I had done that a lot or used a watch and, had splits I needed to hit for certain marathons, but, your marathon pace and stuff like that. And we put a lot of weight into that. So I kind of wanted to get away from that and kind of go back to some like my high school training, at Green Lakes, which is a park that's, 10 minutes away from me. And really just running with, freely and stuff like that. And, there were a couple of things that led me to that. One is Zach Miller was a college teammate of mine. And I saw that he ran really well at, pretty much all of his ultras. So I was like,
he still runs like he's actually, an 800 meter.
Yeah. So I was like, wow, that actually kind of looks a little fun. And I wasn't quite sold on it. And then my other teammate at the time, Fred Jocelyn, he went out and ran Ice Age 50 mile in, I think, Wisconsin. I think so. And he was just like, he came back, he was like, those guys are crazy. Like, I think he got a taste of like real trail or, the trail running guys or whatever. So he was like, wow, those guys are really good. So I was kind of intrigued by that. So I decided to just, train for Cayuga for a little bit and go out and just see what I could do.
So was the training build up to that a lot different than your marathon training?
I'm trying to remember. Yeah. So I asked a couple of, local trail ultra people, and they said, practice your, steps, a lot of steps, and kind of do back-to-back long runs. And then I also I tried to, research as much as possible as I could and look at people's blogs and stuff like that. So I try to mimic some of my training to be like that, but you don't really know exactly what's going to happen. For me, it lined up really well. And I was in good shape. So I felt like I was in like around 2:24 marathon shape. I think I was like, I could run a 2:24 based off of the running that I had done. So, and then I practiced just a bunch of stairs and then a couple long runs. I don't know I forget what my longest run was, but I think it was probably like 3 hours or something like that.
Yeah, I think my longest run before a 50 miler might have been Mendon Ponds or something like that. Like it was a 50K that I still didn't know what I was doing. I don't think I ate. I don't know. It's one of those things.
Yeah.
Read a bunch of blogs and then I forget it when I start running. So it's great.
Yeah.
And then after that, so you got second. And then after that, I think was when you got a coach to train for Caumsett. So after that race, did you think that, I did well, but there are definitely other places in here where I could improve, or what was going on after that?
So after that, actually so I did a trail race kind of before Caumsett. It was in France. It was Lake Templier. So I actually happened to get into that race because Zach, he couldn't actually make it there. So he was like, this guy, he came in second at the U.S. Championship at Cayuga. Yeah, would you be willing to have him go there? So I went there, and it was, I kind of got my first hand experience of European trail racing there, and it really blew my mind just because they're very, very good and very good at downhills and uphills. And there was nothing that really could prepare me for that race. I don't think. And for them, that was like a rolling hills course, but there was like, I don't know, I think there was like 13,000 feet of gain in like 48 miles or something like that. And just, yeah.
So it wasn't exactly like JFK.
No, nothing like JFK. So that really opened my eyes, and I was kind of like, this is a cool sport. So I wanted to continue kind of doing the ultra stuff, but I contacted Julie because I wanted to kind of get more structured training, because I always felt like, you don't want to put so much energy into trying to think of a plan and trying to make sure that you're doing things right or hitting workouts and if things are okay. And it's just good to have another set of eyes just to tell you, you're doing well, and we're on a plan, and you don't have to worry about any of the workouts or any of that stuff. So I think for me, that's kind of important.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And I mean, you've stuck with her for the past, 4 years until this past year, which I'm assuming does the fact that there aren't really any races did it play into a factor of you being like, maybe I don't need a coach right now?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. And I think I also kind of just wanted to kind of take this time just to kind of rebuild and, focus on some, things that I hadn't been working on, just as far as just like running for myself. So I just kind of wanted to go back and kind of reset and just kind of run for, just myself and stuff like that. So, and, I don't want to have a coach that waste her time and waste my time. Just, if I'm just, trying to just train or whatever. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I find that I read so much and so many different training strategies, and that I actually just started working directly with a coach last March. Before that, I was following his plan, but it was like my teammate's plan. So, still some wiggle room. But I knew that I read so much and every idea sounds great to me, but I am my own runner. I'm not every runner. So, randomly switching up my training plan or what's going on every week just doesn't work out. So it's actually been nice, to have even though there is no structure of races, and I don't really have too many goals besides getting faster and trying some new things. It's been nice to, like you said, offload your training onto somebody else. You don't have to worry about it. And he knows more than I do. So it's a lot easier.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. It's just, especially if you get a person that, understands you and understands where you want to go and stuff like that. It's good to just be able to, communicate with them that and stuff, and kind of makes your races that you execute well, that much more special and stuff like that. So
when you started working with Julie, did she have you outline goals that you wanted, or was it more I want to train for this race?
I can't, let me try to think.
Or even recently, have you, for example, there's training for the Olympic trials. I want to hit this standard, or there's, I want to be good at the marathon in 5 years. Help me get there. And so now you're doing the base building stuff, or you're training for speed right now, so what was it for you?
So for her, she really lets you kind of choose what you want to do. So if you have a race that you want to go run, she'll be like, okay, let's prepare for that race. And so, if you have goals, longer term goals, I think you tell her that, but she's more focused on, kind of what races do you want, what kind of training, the training to kind of support the races that are interesting to you. So like, you need to have some kind of motivation to run a certain race. Like if I say I want to go run in Cayuga Trails, that really motivates me. She's like, okay, we'll get a plan together. We'll do the best we can. And we'll execute a plan to hit that race. And then afterwards, we'll kind of regroup and say, well, what do we do? How can we improve? And stuff like that. And it's more just like the motivation from the athlete is where she kind of dictates her training. So like, yeah.
So when races started getting canceled this year, what's been motivating you this year?
So in the middle of the year, my brother-in-law, Leon, he owns Leon Timing, and his group kind of put on a virtual challenge race. And I think you interviewed Chris Raleigh before. He ran some crazy mileage to kind of complete 1,000
That guy's a machine.
K in like I forget what he did it like a month or something.
Yeah, was that the like race across New York or something?
Yeah,
he is a machine. I was just like, jeez Christ.
Yeah. So there was a team portion to that race, and I was on it. My wife was on it. Laurel was on it. He was on it. So I kind of got excited for the team race because you don't to virtually like run with people. I don't know, to do your own thing, that's one thing, but then when you have a team that you're like, oh, let's try to get as much mileage as we can or finish. The team race was like you run 2 loops around New York State or something, and I forget what it was like 1,500 miles or something like that. But yeah, that was really some of my motivation. And like Chris, I tried to put in, I didn't put in as much as he did, but I think my highest mileage week was like 155 or something. So I tried to just that was motivation for me. And then so that was pretty fun.
And then recently you attempted an FKT at Mount Marcy, but I'm getting that didn't go exactly as you expected. What was that FKT?
Just basically up and down. I want to try to get the FKT for that. I actually forget what the time is to beat right now, but yeah, I thought so. From that challenge, I was in pretty good shape, but most of my running was flat running because I was trying to get as much miles as I could. So it didn't necessarily translate that well to running up and down Mount Marcy, but it was still pretty fun. Just going up there and trying to put a hard effort in. It's fun.
I was going to ask if you had caught the FKT bug, like a lot of other athletes have, but I didn't get a chance to look it up on the FKT boards. So have you attempted any others?
No, I really haven't gotten that bug. So
when races come back, what do you want to do? Like, do you have a motivation to race in 2021 right now? Like what does your ideal 2021 look like?
Well, I do want to race a road marathon at some point, because I have been doing some just faster, flatter stuff. So I want to race, on the roads at least maybe once this year.
Buffalo?
No, I don't think so. Probably won't go to Buffalo again.
That was a great race.
Yeah, once is enough, I think, for me. I did not have a great race. But you were like 2 minutes behind me or something.
I wasn't going to bring that up. No, I just thought it was great because like that city loves like runners. I just felt really taken care of, like no matter what, it was great.
Yeah, I didn't have the same experience. But yeah, I think probably if everything goes well, I'm probably thinking of doing maybe CIM next year, just a fast course, and trying to lay it out there. Before then, I don't have too many plans. I'd like to do a fast 50 mile or something like that. So I don't know. We'll see.
How long is the Mount Marcy FKT? Because your wife just said it was 2 hours and 31 minutes.
Yeah, I think it's 14 miles total.
That's a long 14 miles. Oh my God. I'm guessing it's like straight up.
Yeah, well, going the first like 2 miles are pretty flat. I guess the fastest way up is you start from the LOJ, and then there's a kind of a flat trail to Marcy Dam, and then you kind of go up the mountain like 3,000 feet or so. And then you come back down. But yeah, that's it. It's very fast. I think I did 3 hours, just over 3 hours for that. But I was like, I hit kind of halfway up Marcy, and I was like, you're not gonna get it today. So I just like just do it, and then just come back down, and you can always try it again if not. So.
So you say you're in pretty good flat, like road marathon shape, but we are coming into the winter. And, I've been dealing with this for the past week, especially the past 2 days. Like I bailed on our workout yesterday because the weather was just awful and I just wasn't mentally there. And I know that I need to get more mentally there. How do you maintain like fitness outside in the winter when it's so cold? I mean, doing Ks on icy roads, just, it doesn't wet my palate, but maybe it wets yours. I don't know. But, so this is selfishly asking, but I'm sure everybody else wants to know, how do you stay fit during the winter?
I guess there's a lot of things. I guess it really is hard to get into good road shape. So I think doing like a spring marathon is pretty tough because you have to run on the roads to do a good road marathon. But, I will, run on our trails here. Again, Green Lakes is very runnable trail. So mountain bikers will go on it and you're able to just, run on the snow and stuff. And then also Highland State Park, I'll go there a lot just to either run or there's, I guess we haven't really snowshoed, but I usually just, run there.
Well, I mean, that'll build your strength, but I mean, getting that turnover, I mean, that's like sometimes I just, when it's cold, it's like hard to get your legs to move that fast. So, are you doing stuff on the road? Do you head to like a track or, what are you doing?
I haven't actually run that fast in a while, during the winter. So like right now, typically I would go to a track. So there's SRC Arena. They have like a 200-meter track, indoor track there. And then like before the pandemic or whatever, sometimes we would go to Manly Fieldhouse. That was like a while ago to run on their track there. But yeah, you can either find just like a small loop on the road just to run that's, dry enough that you can get some turnover in. But yeah, a lot of my work that I do is just high-end aerobic stuff with some just shorter stuff kind of mixed in. So it's not too difficult to get that turnover in, at least for the marathon. If you're doing something faster, I think you would want to go on a track or find an indoor track to work out.
Yeah, it's our team. We're trying to convince ourselves like the effort is there, even though the times are just going to get slower.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's pretty much all you can do. Plus, like, you don't want to get injured trying to overcompensate for like, just ice and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. The
Just
ice always wins.
yeah, and plus the cold just it makes everything worse.
So, another question that we got was you need to tell us about your beer mile experience. When was this beer mile?
Oh man. So I guess there's kind of two stories for a beer mile. One's collegiate beer mile, and then there's post collegiate beer mile. So in college, every I don't know spring, not every spring, but yeah, every spring I guess there'd be a beer mile held, at least at some location or some track. And I guess that beer mile, I really wanted to just hit times for that. So, like, I guess the official beer mile rules are you can, if you, puke or whatever, then you have to run an extra lap. So it doesn't matter if you can chug a beer and then run as fast as you can and then, whatever, complete it. But whatever, if you puke, then you have to do an extra lap. So I guess post collegiately, I didn't want to puke. I wanted to be like kind of pure. So I just wanted to say 4 beers, 4 laps, hold it down, and that's a beer mile. So for me, I forget when we did it. I think it was for Chris's birthday or something like that. Chris Raleigh. And we did it at a track nearby his parents' house, and it was a couple of Stoughton guys, or ex-Stoughton guys, or whoever you want to call them. And pretty much Chris is the worst beer mile runner there is, and I'm probably the second worst. So pretty much my mentality going in is just relentless forward progress for 1 mile, and that's pretty much it. I think I ran like 15-minute beer mile. So
Okay.
yeah, it's my worst
to a trail mile.
Yeah.
That's fun. So, thank you for spending this 40 minutes with me. So in 2020, you're looking at 2021, you're looking for a fast road marathon. I bet the viewers can hook you up with that. And to end the show, I actually want to play a game that I've forgotten to play for the past 3 shows, but we're going to bring it back. It's called Ideal Aid Station. And so are you ready to play? You can't fail. Don't worry.
Okay.
So you're coming into an aid station, mile, or the Trails Rock aid station at Cayuga. It's a fan favorite. What's your favorite sweet snack?
Oh, so I usually just take gels or Roctane. So either a gel or probably a gel. Yeah.
All right. Favorite salty snack?
I actually do like pickles.
Oh, pickles are great.
Pickle juice, yeah.
Yes. Favorite hot food?
Ooh, like spicy hot?
No, like warm.
Oh, like soup or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, soup.
Definitely soup. A JFK soup is like my thing. I put it in my bottle.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, I know. That was a pretty cold day.
Yeah, both times I've done it, it's kind of been very cold.
Yeah.
Favorite favorite sports drink?
Sports drink. Probably goo.
Roctane. I've never tried that, but I've heard the tea is really good, and that intrigues me.
Yeah, the tea's pretty good.
Thanks.
I tried it once.
Review.
I usually have a grape.
All right. Favorite non-sports drink. So a drink that isn't like Gatorade or something that it would be great to have that at my aid station.
Oh yeah. Coke.
Coke. Yeah. Flat or bubbly?
Flat.
Flat, yeah, because I can't get the bubbly down sometimes. I just
Yeah, I guess
like,
partially bubbly, but not
yeah, mostly
shaken.
flat.
Shaken a couple times.
Yes, yeah. Leave the cap open.
Yeah.
Item of gear. So like something that, you're coming into that aid station, you might need it.
Ooh, that's a good one. Probably just like a buff or something. Seems to be useful for a lot of things. Usually,
Especially now.
yeah.
All right. And then last question. If you could have like a celebrity or somebody beat your aid station, maybe give you a little mojo, maybe run a couple miles with you if they're able, who would that celebrity be?
Oh man. This is a good one. Man, I'm gonna take a while for this.
Maybe I should have prepped you for this.
Oh man. I'm really bad at being put on the spot.
Laurel doesn't count, and neither does
Yeah.
Lauren.
Famous person besides Ellie Pell.
Yeah, I know. Hey, I mean, Buffalo and JFK. I mean, maybe I'll be at your next road marathon too. I don't know.
I'm gonna say Trey Anastasio.
Who's that?
The guitarist for Fish. I think he'd be
Cool.
pretty good guy to follow.
Oh, Lauren says Killian. They put on a track.
I couldn't keep up with him.
Yeah, that might be. I don't even think he's. Well, I guess he does speak English. I was like, I don't even know if I understand him. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, Jared, thanks again for doing this. Where can people find you and say hello online? So after you tell people your Instagram name, can we just get a little background of what that means?
So in college, my nickname was Rufio, based off of my resemblance to the character on Hook, Rufio.
Oh, okay.
And then RF is just like also a college thing where, it's kind of our chant in the beginning before a race. And 13 is just my lucky number.
Lucky number 13. I've never heard that one before.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Jared, for doing this. And good luck in 2021. And I hope to see you at a road marathon soon.
Yeah, no. What are your plans?
I don't have any yet. I keep saying I will make plans in June when we have a readily available vaccine. But until then, I don't know. I don't know yet. It's still too fresh.
Yeah.
But I've been having fun training with my team for some, like, doing a lot of track work, which has been a lot of fun. So.
Yeah, I know. I got to get back to training with a group again because I've been on my own for, I don't know. I've been doing a lot of solo stuff, but I guess going into the marathon, that's also something that, kind of leads me to running towards people and stuff like that, or running with people. So.
It's a lot easier and a lot more fun to train when you have somebody doing it with you, I tell you.
Yeah. Who's your coach?
His name's John. He's I don't know if you know her. He was one of my other teammates, Julie, her college coach, and he doesn't coach for Columbia anymore, but he is still coaching us, which is pretty cool. It took me like a year at least of just pirating my teammates' workouts before I was like, all right, I guess can you write me a plan?
Yeah.
But it's been a good decision. So thank you for asking.
Yeah.
And I hope to see you around soon, Jared.
All right. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
And that'll do it for our live show with Jared. Connect with him on Instagram. You follow him on Twitter. He'll probably add you on Facebook. And thank you to our Patreon supporters again for supporting the Trails Collective. And stay tuned for our holiday show airing on New Year's Eve. We'll be posting about that shortly. Have a good night, guys.